Welcome to day 30, and in this particular video we are going to talk about Amazon RDS. So it's one of the AWS services which is provided by the AWS cloud, and this service is particularly for the data base, correct, for the storage, correct, for the data storage. So in this particular video we are going to focus on this Amazon RDS, and we will deep dive from the theoretical perspective, and we will also deep dive from the demo perspective as well. So in this particular video we are going to learn about this, and we will create one of the database as well. So we will see that throughout this particular video. So if you are new to the channel, you can watch out the other videos which are available to the channel. You can go through the AWS EC2, other concepts, user data, EIP, your auto scaling group, launch template, load balancers, the path-based routing. Even you can go through the VPC, NAT gateway, internet gateway, VPC peering, transit gateway, endpoints, IAM role policy, and S3, the how can you host your static website, how can you create your management rules like the lifecycle rules, replication rules, and so many stuffs on the S3 as well, correct, the S3 CRS concept and everything. In this particular video we will focus ourselves on the RDS itself. So let's get started with that. Amazon Relational Database Service, as you can see from the first point, is an easy to manage relational database service optimized for total cost of ownership. So as you know that AWS Cloud provides pay as you go model. What does that mean? The moment you will be utilizing this RDS instance, you will be charged for that particular RDS instance, correct? And within one RDS instance, you can have the multiple database as well. So RDS will give you a kind of infrastructure, a kind of schema, or you will say the infrastructure where you can create your own RDS instance, and within this RDS you can have either one database or the multiple database as well, correct. Then RDS automates undifferentiated database management tasks such as provisioning, configuring, backing up, and patching. So even you can do the upgrade on your RDS instance, you can configure your RDS instance from the security perspective as well, that which kind of request can come to your RDS, the database, correct, which kind of request can go outside. Even if you want to keep the backup of your data, for that you can have the snapshot, you can have your primary or secondary database concepts as well, and you can do the replication. So all these features are provided by the RDS itself. It allows customers to create a new database in minutes. So there is console where you will fill in the details which RDS AWS RDS will ask, and just you fill in, and within a few minutes you will see that your database is ready to be used, correct. So that way you can even create the database. Customers can optimize performance with features like multi-AG or your cross-region replica, that feature. So what does that mean, multi-AG? That means your database will be available across the multiple availability zone. Suppose that you are creating your RDS instance in AP South 1, that's your Mumbai region. So it will be available across three different availability zones, AP South 1, A, B, and C. For that, what you will have to do, you will have to select all these three subnets, correct. So subnets is the part of networking, correct. So if you have to make it highly available, you will deploy it in multiple availability zone, and behind the scene it will be deployed into multiple availability zones which will run as a standby, correct. Then when you can to make it highly from the performance perspective, if you want to make it like the RDS instance should be more tends towards the performance. So for that you can select AWS Graviton based instances as well, like T4G.medium, C5G.medium, those kind of Graviton based instances you can select for your RDS instance. Let's move to the other slide. What are the features of Amazon RDS? It's easy to manage, removes inefficient and time consuming database administration. Choice of engines, like you have the multiple engines available over there, either your postgres, within the postgres the multiple versions of the postgres are available. You can go with the Aurora DB, you can go with the other IBM DB2, MySQL, and other available engines as well. Highly available because it gives you the flexibility to deploy your RDS instance into multiple availability zone, or even the cross region replica as well, correct. You can see the cross region replica as well, or the multi edge. operational expertise, no need of dedicated expertise, correct? So it's the AWS cloud who is managing your RDS instance from the behind. You will have the control on your data, you will have the flexibility on your data, you will have flexibility to uh, maintain the security as well, but behind the scene to make it highly available there is AWS cloud. So you don't have to pay anything to do the operations kind of thing, correct? Security, you can encrypt it with the KMS key, and that KMS key can work as a encryption key to protect your AWS resources, correct, or the even the AWS RDS instance. Private or public, you do have the options to launch your RDS instance either in a private mode or in a public mode, and there is a options to do the protections as well, correct? So whether your database can be accidentally deleted or not. So these are all the theory part, and here if you see the comparison between the SQL and NoSQL database, this is the type of your SQL database which Amazon RDS is, correct? While you get into the DynamoDB table, that is NoSQL. So in the DynamoDB table, if you see the NoSQL format, it's a kind of your JSON format, the key pair value. While in the SQL format, if you see, it's a row and column format, correct? It's in the tabular format. So that's the difference between the RDS, Amazon RDS, and DynamoDB table as well. If you see the theoretical comparison between these two, the RDS stands for your SQL format, and DynamoDB stands for NoSQL format. While talking about the scalability, RDS can scale horizontally and vertically both, while DynamoDB automatically scales tables to adjust for capacity. So the data grows, the your JSON table will start growing, correct? So DynamoDB will do the auto scaling, but this RDS instance can be horizontally and vertically scaled. If there is a requirement of scaling it in terms of storage, that you can change. If you have to change the instance class for this RDS, that you can change. Talking about the cost, RDS is more expensive, but it gives you the more organized data, while the DynamoDB is less expensive because it has a kind of unorganized data, correct? So it's a kind of JSON format. You have to do the parsing and all those things. Features and flexibility, RDS provides the more features, that's why it's more expensive. DynamoDB goes with less features, less expensive, correct? Applications or the use case, popular choice for ERP, CRM, correct? While DynamoDB table can be used for real-time bidding, shopping carts, mobile application, and high IONets. Table format like rows and columns, that's the format to store the data in RDS, while DynamoDB supports JSON and XML. So these are the way how your data is stored in the AWS RDS and within the DynamoDB table. Now let's move to the AWS console and we will see how to launch your RDS instance. So let's go to the AWS console here, and here we will search about the RDS. Click on the RDS, Aurora and RDS, and within the few seconds we will see the AWS console, which will be having the options to create your first RDS instance. And we will also talk about the prerequisite which we will require before launching your RDS instance. So let's get into the databases. Here if you see, right now there is no database at 0, correct? Now if I click on the create database, we will have to give few details, and for that what I will have to do, I will have to just suppose that let's go with the PostgreSQL. So that's the engine version. I'm selecting engine options, I'm going with the PostgreSQL. Here I will be giving the engine version, the latest one. I'm going with the default one, 17.2. Then templates, which kind of template you want to have for your RDS instance. Use defaults for high availability and fast consistent performance. This instance is intended for development use outside of a production environment. So you can go with either free tier dev test or the production. So based on that this configuration, your RDS instance will be available, will be that kind of available, correct? So as of now I'm going with the production one. Then availability and durability, either you want to deploy in multi-AG cluster deployment, 3 instances, correct? While your write on read can be on your availability zone 1, plus there will be 2 standby kind of instances which are in other availability zones. So if we are in AP South 1, so availability zone 1A will be the one where we will do the write and read, while the These two instances will work as a standby. Whenever this prime episode 1A goes down, these two things will start working, correct? So as you can see, this setup provides 99.5% uptime, redundancy across availability zone, increase read capacity, reduce write latency. While if you deploy your multi-agent DB instance deployment or single availability zone DB instance deployment, that means one instance which will work as a primary, while multi-agent, that means multiple availability zones. So it goes with your one availability zone instance as a read write and second as a standby with no endpoint, correct? So as you can see, create a primary DB instance with a non-readable standby instance in separate availability zone with the 99.5% uptime, redundancy across availability zones. So I'm going with this second option, multi-agent DB instance deployment, two instance, correct? Here you can give any name to your database identifier. So I'm just going with the demo DB, that will be name, and whatever the username you want to pass here, so let me give as the master, that will be my username. And credentials management, how do you want to manage the credentials, like for this database, correct? For this RDS instance, you might have to connect as well, correct? When you are launching the RDS instance, of course you would like to connect this RDS instance, you would like to create your RDS database page, you would like to create your tables row and all other stuffs you would like to play with your RDS instance, correct? So for that you will have to require this host endpoints, then the passwords and other stuff. Where do you want to store all this? Either you want to self-manage or you want to store it in the AWS Secret Manager. So Secret Manager is one of the other AWS service. You can see here AWS Secret Manager, and here it stores all the credentials related to your databases, correct? So if you see, so it's a bit slow loading. So here you can see this store a new secret, correct? So you can store all the endpoints related things. As of now there is no secret, but the moment we will create the RDS instance, you will see that secret as well. Then the encryption we talked about, how to encrypt you the RDS instances, correct? So you can use this AWS managed encryption, AWS Secret Manager default one. Then the instance class, which instance class you want to select for your RDS instance. So if I go with the DB bus table, dbt3.micro, t4.g, t4g.small, or other available instances you can select. T3.micro will be a bit slow, so I will go with the t4g.medium, or let me go with the t4g.xlarge to make it a bit fast. Or let me go with the standard class, so I will have to go with dbm5.4x large. Let me go with this one, might be it goes with a faster speed, correct? So that we can cover up in the demo a bit fast. So db.m5.4x large I have selected, and then for the SSD I'm going with this general purpose SSD, and let me go with the 20 GB. That should work. Allocated storage value must be 20 GB, so I have gone through the 20 GB. So that's the kind of a storage type. Moving forward, if you want to connect with the endpoints, so you can go with the connect to an EC2 compute resource. There one EC2 instance will be created, and that will be linked with your RDS instance. From there you can access your RDS instance directly by running the commands. Here I am going with the don't connect to an EC2 compute resource, and in which VPC you want to launch your RDS instance. So as of now there is a default VPC, so I'm just going with the default VPC as well. If you want to change anything, so you can create a new VPC, and that VPC will pop up here, that you can select that as well, correct? Then the subnet groups. So these three subnets which are available within the default VPC, that is coming over here. So this subnet group will be created. As of now, if you see, most probably there should not be any subnet group because I have not created. So let's see, default VPC. Okay, so the default subnet group and default VPC, all the things are available there. If you want to create your own custom subnet group, you can launch your own VPC, you can launch your own subnet groups, and with the help of that you can create your own subnet group as well. Here you will click on the create subnet group, you will pass the details, you will select your VPC, you will select your subnets from here based on the availability zone. All the subnets will be here, then you can create, correct? So that thing you can do. Then publicly accessible, you want to make your database publicly accessible or not. For that you can select yes or no. I'm going with the yes. Then VPC security group, you want to select create a new security group, or you want to select the existing one. So I'm going with the default because I'm just going through the demo. That's how can you create your RDS instance, and what are the usage of these features. That's what we are talking about. So VPC security group, from here you can select and then go with the other details. Database authentication, you want to authenticate your database, like you want to log in your database through the password only, or you sorry, you want to do IAM database authentication as well. That means you create one role, and through that role you will grant the permission to access your database, correct? So this can be utilized for a real project as well. Here we can go with the password authentication just for the demo purpose, correct? Then monitoring, if you want to enable database insights advanced, database insight standard, so you can go with this. Retention period, enable performance insights. If you enable this, you will see that your performance insights will come from here you will be able to see the performance insights. As of now you won't see any because there is no database, but as soon as you enable this performance insights, you will find that those database listed over here, and from there you can select that which SQL query is taking much time, and all those connections related things, all the metrics related thing will pop up over there. So for that you can enable performance insights. That is 7-day free tire, then a KMS key ID and other things. Enable additional monitoring settings, if you want to do you can do, or you can disable this. Then this one also I'm just disabling. Additional configuration, click on here. Enable automated backups, if you want to take the backup of your data. So for that you can enable the automated backups, and this backup will remain for 7 days. Backup retention period, the number of days for which automatic backups are kept. So the backup will kept for 7 days. If you enable this, if you disable, then there will not be any backup. Anytime you can change these settings, correct? So I'm just going with no maintenance. I'm going with the disabled options. Maintenance window, no preference. Delete protection, that's the last point I wanted to talk about this. So if you enable this delete protection, once you create the database, you will not be directly able to delete your database. Till the moment you come into the settings part, you change this from enable to disable, and then you will be able to delete this. So the moment it will be enabled, you won't be able to delete any database. So this saves your database from accidental deletion, correct? So this is what we are talking, and here you see the estimated monthly cost. DB instance 29555 point, sorry, 2955.04 USD. Storage and total charge will be this one for the 1 month. So approx 3000 USD you will have to pay with all these configurations. With the DB T5, I think we selected as an instance class. What then dvm5.4 x large I had selected. So according to this instance class and all this configuration, you will be charged this much. So once you click on the create database, your database will be launched, and then with the help of endpoints and other stuffs, you can connect your database. So probably in the next video we will see how to launch and how to connect your database from the any other tools available, or we will see that as well. So in this particular video I wanted to cover up to this much only, not going into the much details, so that the video itself will not be much lengthy. So we will come up with other details of the RDs in the next video. Till the time, thank you so much, and stay tuned, subscribe to the channel for other contents.